Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Sean McConnell, as you know, for the WorldCupNow.com. And this evening on Halloween, hence the ears and the afro and everything behind me, as you can see, there will be a new format for this evening. It's something I've tried to do before. I wanted to invite you guys out and see who I have in my league, who I bounce ideas off of, and where I get my information from, and kind of run ideas off of in terms of players and transfers and teams that are going to do well. I have my mates. I've got to my right here. La 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 la. I got Jake. He's sitting in what position?
7th place at the moment.
7th place.
The Feather Rufflers, by the way.
And score?
441, I think.
441?
481.
Excellent. And then to my, whichever side this side is?
To the right. To the left.
I have
the Jib, also known as HR, currently sitting in first place.
The champ is here.
At 517. 517. So we are all in the 1,500,000, et cetera. But again, I always wanted to bring you guys out to the pub if I could, where we go and we watch. It's called the Niblick, but that's normally where this is. It's kind of like a Sunday tradition.
Mm-hmm.
But I think this evening, since Halloween, we're going to be going out. We're getting dressed up, and I figured this would be a good kind of change de vie from the normal, the normal format that I have. So we're just going to go through. We're going to talk about the big game, the game that everyone and pretty much half of every fantasy manager is going to have to consider about is the Liverpool-Arsenal game. I go about that in my post, so follow the post link down here to my website. You can see a little bit more, and I'll go into my team selection. So we're going to go through that, and then we're also going to check about different subjects. Well, I guess the next subject is going to be if you have 6, 5, 4 players that are playing one another, how do you go about substituting 1, 2 players, depending on how many free transfers you have? If you want to choose to substitute them or keep them, we're going to kind of debate about that later. But first subject we're going to go over is Liverpool-Arsenal. I'm going to throw it over to Jake, this side, and just kind of go over his thoughts or trying to get his thoughts about what he feels is going to happen with Liverpool and Arsenal.
So, Jake, well, I would say that I've been loving Arsenal's play for the last, since the first loss of the season, I guess. They've just been unbelievable. Liverpool, I mean, come on. The last game, the quality of goals from Sturridge and Suarez, unbelievable. I'm lucky enough for my fantasy team. I only have offensive players from both of them because I think there are going to be quite a few goals, and because Liverpool hasn't kept a clean sheet in I don't even know how long. And
so are you saying that you have Suarez and Sturridge?
no, I have Sturridge, I have Ozil. I'm sorry, Sturridge, Ozil, and Ramsey. 3 players from the 2 teams. So I'm hoping that there isn't going to be a clean sheet. I'm hoping there's going to be a lot of goals.
Yeah.
I transferred out Giroud maybe 2 weeks ago. He's been doing really well, but I picked up Aguero, so it's been working out.
That's offset.
Yeah, it's been working out for me. But I think that game is just going to be a soccer fan's dream. It's going to be awesome. So the 3 players in the game for me, and the higher the score, the better. That's the way I look at it.
Excellent. So no defenders.
No.
Just complete offense, and you want like a 4-4 tie.
Yeah. To be honest, I made 2 transfers this week because I had Mignolet in net.
Mm-hmm.
And so I bumped him.
Which a lot of people do.
Yeah. But it just what was it, 5.7.
Yeah.
And just didn't seem like it was worth the money, just 2 points every week. So I got rid of Mignolet and I got rid of Davies from Swansea, who
interesting. Because Swansea has really good, and when I say really good, they have kind of favorable fixtures.
I know. But the thing is, he's been injured. So he's not playing. He's coming back in November something. So what I did was I got rid of Davies, got rid of Mignolet, but I wanted a Swansea guy, so I picked up Horn and net. And I picked up John Terry instead of Davies because
you might be copying somebody.
I just really like Chelsea's next 3 games as well. So
Excellent.
yeah, so those were my transfers this game week for this kind of game.
No, that's good, and that's very good justification for who you have.
Mm.
Now, turning the point to our leader, 517, Mr. HR. Who do you have in Liverpool Arsenal? Why did you keep who you've kept? And if you got rid of someone, why did you get rid of?
I have Jose Enrique, which will be gone because he's been injured and he hasn't been doing anything.
Mm-hmm.
And on Arsenal, I have Ramsey, Ozil. Actually, yeah, Ozil and Ramsey, and I do have Suarez on Liverpool as well. So mostly offensive players. So
Good strategy.
And what are you expecting from this weekend? From this
the
game?
game?
Yeah.
It's actually an interesting game because you have two teams that you don't really know what to think about. On one hand, you have Liverpool, whose deficiencies have been masked over by the form of Suarez and Sturridge. So you really don't know what Liverpool is yet because they've been more or less saved week in and week out by those two players who have combined 17 goals. On the other hand, you have a team like Arsenal who's finally signed a big player to break down that stigma of not signing big names. And just when you think the old Arsenal is back, that midweek game against Dortmund just shows their mental weakness, how they can collapse fast and get overrun by a big team. So it's going to be interesting to see if Suarez is held back. Then what can Liverpool do? There's no, Steven Gerrard and his new role is not producing. And if, Ozil and Ramsey, depending on if he starts, if they're not producing, what can Arsenal do as well? So it's gonna be a big game for both of them to see where they stack up. The winner of that game is gonna be a huge confidence boost because it's gonna be able to say I beat a big club.
Of course, yeah. If Liverpool, if Arsenal wins, they're going to go 3 points up on whoever's in second. I can't.
Liverpool's in second, right?
Is there?
Arsenal, Liverpool, Chelsea.
They're going to be 5 points up because are they?
And Chelsea's up there. I don't know where Chelsea sit, but they should be up there.
Yeah. What a game that was. And Arsenal actually lost midweek to Chelsea in the
they also lost to Chelsea as well. So it goes back to the whole mental aspect that they're still not mentally there. They can't play with the big boys.
And it goes to more the point of the team or the starting 11 that Arsene plays. And this goes more along the lines, and you said it, to the Dortmund game, it's these ancillary games that are Champions League, Capital One games, and you have these games that may mean something, they may not mean something.
But
Capital One is kind of
is probably the biggest one. That's the one they can't afford not to.
Exactly. But when you look at who they're playing, we can all agree that Ramsey has been their highest performing player. So why would you go and you would play him in a Capital One game? Now I understand that Flamini and there's two injuries in midfield that kind of instigate that decision for me, that I would think that Wenger is playing Ramsey. And granted, I think he played maybe 90 minutes in the Capital One game. I don't know if he got the whole game or not, but regardless. But this is all things that we need to consider as fantasy managers moving forward in our team selection. Because you look at Ramsey, there's the risk of his being benched. And I don't say benched, I mean he'll start on the bench and he'll maybe come off on the 30th, and I go more into the post where he'll be this kind of super sub like Dzeko was last year. And when Dzeko, he was a sub, but he would come on and he would score every game he was subbed on for. I'm pretty sure that stat is completely made up. But we all know that he had that kind of performance. So now for me personally, I have stuck with, and will continue to, with Giroud, Ozil, Sturridge. Then I also have Miggs in net, which a lot of you guys have, I'm sure, unless you transfer him up for Boric. And and also I have Mertesacker because I feel that if you're for offensive capabilities, a corner headed in is going to come from Mertesacker, and it happened maybe last game week, the game week before, but that for me as personally as a fantasy manager, I want that coverage. Now, the trend that I've seen online from reading your comments, your emails, your posts, and from other sites is that there's a lot of people, a lot of you guys, have been transferring out Giroud for Aguero, which is good if Aguero performs.
Well, he's performing.
Yeah?
Yeah.
And there's no doubt he is in form. But when it comes to your strikers, you look at Sturridge, Suarez, Rooney, Giroud, Lukaku, Benteke to a lesser extent. They have all had at least one goal in the last 4 games each. So really, if they've all been equally performing as well, where is the advantage in transferring someone just for one game? So, you said that you transferred Giroud out 2 weeks ago for Aguero.
For the last 3 game weeks. It was the first one, I think he had what? 2 assists and a goal?
Yeah, 2 last week.
Yeah. So he's been killing it. But the only thing is Giroud's been, he had a goal last week, I think?
It was a goal.
The thing is, you have to, when you make these kind of transfers, they're made for the whole of the season.
Yeah.
At the end, who's going to be on top?
Yeah.
If you look at Giroud versus Aguero, at the end of the season, you can't see Giroud scoring more goals than Aguero.
Really?
The City, especially when City will start ticking.
Okay. I'm going to interject, and I'm just going to ask HR, and I'll ask Jake, your top 3 strikers for the season that you see at the end. So if you could get your top 3 strikers that you feel are going to have the most points at the end of the season right now, who would they be?
It's going to be Suarez, it's going to be Aguero, and Van Persie.
Okay.
Suarez and Van Persie for sure. I would have said Soldado at the beginning of the season, but he's done nothing. So I don't know. I mean, you might have Sturridge up there too. If Liverpool keeps going the way they are, it might be Sturridge, it might be Aguero. But I would completely agree with your 3. I mean, those are 3 heavy hitters.
Okay.
Over to you, sir.
For me, I would probably go with Suarez, which means I need to pick him up.
If he stays the whole season.
Why don't you not pick him up?
Like Song's suspension. Nobody in line.
But Madrid's chomping at the bit to get that guy. You never know what's happening.
Yeah, and that brings up another point: is are these teams going to be the same come January?
Mm-hmm.
Are
players
going to
transfers in January? Teams just don't allow big guys to move in January. It's too much of a risk. You have Champions League football on the line. You have league football on the line. Survival. Most of them will just say, you know what, you leave, but you leave in the summer.
Yeah.
You're not. There's never been a big transfer move in January.
Right.
You're basically picking
never a big
replace,
transfer out.
You're basically replacing guys that are injured if you're short.
You're
Picking
picking
up small guys. You're picking up average guys.
Now, I'm just going to kind of bring this back to the Arsenal-Liverpool game. I recently saw earlier this afternoon, I saw that it was on Facebook. There was a picture of Suarez, Sturridge, and Coutinho, all with the same color bib at practice. And smart minds prevail. One would think that if Suarez and Sturridge have the same jersey, they're going to be starting. And if Coutinho has the same color jersey or bib, pardon me, one would anticipate that he's going to start.
Those are just the teams they play in practice.
Okay, and that's fine. But let's hypothetically think, what would happen to Liverpool if Coutinho starts? I'll go with HR.
Well, he should start. That's one of the players they picked up to be a starter.
Yeah.
After Xabi Alonso left, that team's never been the same in midfield. There's nobody to run a midfield for that team. So, in my opinion, he should be starting.
Okay.
we saw it at the beginning of the season when Suarez was suspended. I mean, Coutinho and Sturridge were just killing it. They had such a good chemistry. And now Coutinho, he's an excellent playmaker there. And if he has Sturridge up there and Suarez, Gerrard's somewhere around there as well. I mean, that kid's just gonna be an assist machine, I think. You know, if he's fit, because I knew he was injured for a bit. I didn't know why exactly. Yeah. But if he comes back, I think guaranteed he's starting. Guaranteed he's starting, and he's just gonna. I think he's gonna.
We can't see anybody else like you gotta play ahead of him, like a Henderson or.
No, definitely.
There's nobody in that team who's got talent to take his spot if he's good.
Yeah. All right. So now we're coming up to 16 minutes. This is kind of a little bit longer of a video, but I wanted to give you guys a lot more depth to this post. And I'm going to kind of leave on this thought, and I'm going to go to HR. Well, sorry, no, I pointed to Jake, so I'm going to say Jake. Just because I pointed this way, and then it's just the reverse. Okay? And then I'll go to HR, and then I'll end on myself. But I'm always about giving tips and advice to the players, to the managers that are watching. If this is your first week, your time starting, if this is your 5th season, it's always about helping you guys out. And so I'm just going to kind of ask each one of you guys to just kind of give what you think you as a manager should do going forward for the next 3 game weeks. And then maybe we'll meet up in 3 game weeks and we'll do this again.
Okay.
Well, someone's phone's ringing.
That's mine.
Live. What are you
doing? It's alright.
No apologies. I'll edit this out later.
Brilliant. For me, I'm a bit of a transfer whore, right? I have to say it. I love to transfer. I haven't had no point hit in I don't even know how many weeks. It's always 2 transfers usually. You know, if they look at somebody wrong, he's transferred. You know what I mean? So I know that it's a fine line, but don't be too afraid to take a 4-point hit. You know, don't be too afraid to take a 4-point hit every now and then. You know, if my defense was really hurting me for the last few weeks, I said, you know what, I'm gonna take a chance and I'm gonna go. I got rid of Mignolet and I got rid of Davies. So that's my advice.
You can go pick that up now. Yes, Mom. I'll be home at 8 o'clock.
9:30.
9:30. That's like in an hour. You guys, all right. So anyway, and H, moving forward, what advice would you offer to my viewers, my readers, in terms of how they can benefit themselves in the next 3 game weeks?
Well, mine would just be the opposite of Jake's. Stay with consistency. A lot of this game we play is just the laws of averages. You know, like throughout the season, if you're constantly changing your players, you're not going to maximize the points at the end. So if you only had Van Persie, say last year for 10 game weeks, you only got those goals. But if you kept them throughout the whole thing, you kept him captain, he got you probably 40% of your points.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, when you think you want to get rid of a guy or whatever, just let it ride, you know? Don't be doing knee-jerk reactions. And that's kind of what I've done so far. I've only sold really Van Persie and one other midfielder. I picked up Ramsey 4 weeks ago, but my team's been the same. And when I had a bad game week, but overall, points-wise, it's averaged out. That I'm writing it first, bitch. First.
All right. So before I jump in, what have your formations been for this season?
5-4-1.
3-4-3.
And I've been 3-4-3. So
5-4-1 first.
Exactly.
Pretty
Like clean sheets, big time. So, and to kind of break this deadlock, just kind of boom in between, I'm actually going to go with something that I have not been practicing myself, and I have always preached: never pay for a transfer. Never take 4 points for transfer. Like, points are like dollars. You don't want to give them away. And for me, in the last I'd say at least 3 game weeks, I've done 4 points, taken a 4-point hit, trying to adjust, trying to catch that person who's, and I think it stemmed from my wildcard week. Because when I wildcarded based on value. And I had a great, increase in team value. But the players didn't perform after. So I look at my team and I'm like, well, I'm not performing as well. I don't have the people who are in form right now. So for me, I feel like you need to get the people who are in form, keep them, and hold them over the long term, and you're going to yield the points that you want. So as a manager, buy and hold. That's my opinion. So now it's like 2-1. No offense, Jake. No offense. No offense. But that's where we stand right now. And we'll move on from this, and we'll probably, I'd love to have another follow-up video. We'll do it on a night that we're drinking again too. And
yeah.
It won't be Halloween. We won't be dressed up, but we'll do another follow-up video, whether it's 2-3 game weeks down the road. We will follow up. Promise you guys. I appreciate you guys watching every week. I appreciate your comments, your emails, everything. And I'm going to leave on this point just because I was thinking about earlier today, and I have a feeling that the average fantasy manager score is going to be a lot higher than it was last year. Last year I think it was at 1846. I have a feeling it's going to be higher, so I'm going to just kind of end and ask what you feel like the average score is and how many people you think are going to be 200 plus points.
2,000.
No. Like individual, like a Rooney has 200.
Oh, I see.
Or Van Persie has 200, or whoever. How many players you think are going to hit 200 plus points? So I'll start.
One hand. No more than you can count on one hand.
So five players
or less.
Or less will be 200 plus.
Yeah, I would.
And you agree?
Yeah, I would say that too. That's a tough thing to do. But the thing is, with this new bonus point system, which is you never know.
No.
You never know.
But if you're a striker or a midfielder scoring, you will get automatic 3 points. If you score 2 goals in midfield or a goal and assist.
But did you see last week? Ramsey had the. Was it Ramsey had
no,
the assist?
he only had a goal.
Oh, he had an assist, I think.
Yeah, but
he didn't even get like a bonus point. It was all the defense.
It was all defense. Yep.
No, but that game was higher scoring. Giroud scored. Ozil scored a hat trick. No, 2 goals for me. That's why Ozil got all 3. Because I had him as captain last week. Yeah, he got me 30. He scored 2 goals.
They played the soccer team.
Ozil had 2, and Giroud had 1.
There was a 4-1.
Yeah, and then somebody else.
No, but after that there was a game week, and then Arsenal only won 2-1 or something like that.
That's right. Now, this is a subject that is completely different, which is the bonus point system. Now it's changed. For me, I feel that there's going to be at least 5 or more players that are going to have 200 points or more, only because we're only at game week 10 right now, and there's at least 4 players that are at 67. So you extrapolate that a little bit further. Double game weeks. We'll see, but I feel there's going to be this is going to be the highest scoring year, highest scoring year in terms of points for managers in at least 3 years, only because it's a World Cup year. I feel that people need to perform, players are trying to perform for their national teams, they want to impress, want to be, and but players are playing now to get on to the team, etc. So, we'll leave you on that note. We'll check in later. As always, I wish you the best of luck in the game week. I'd like to thank HR, and I'd like to thank Jake.
Thanks for having us.
For joining me in this screencast. And again, as always, I always appreciate your comments. Leave your comments, your questions. You can email me all below, and I'll respond to them as quickly as I can. And again, best of luck, but not to beat us. And happy Halloween.
Happy Halloween.
Yeah.